All right, we're back. Let's see. Let's wait on some people here. All right. So, welcome back to the Land Flipping Formula weekly live session brought to you by the Land Investing Pros, Paul and Willie. I'm your host, Abdiel, and today we're going to be talking about choosing the right marketing strategy, and this time unmuted. My goodness. So if you're out there, if you're watching this and you watched the last one that was muted, my apologies. But if you're out there watching this, send me a like, send me some questions. If you have any, I will gladly answer any of your questions, as well as leave a comment if you have any concerns for anything, as well as, if you're in the future watching this, just comment replay. If you're watching this live, comment live. All right. Now, today, like I said, we're going to be talking about choosing the right marketing strategy. We're talking specifically about cold calling, about SMS, which is, for those of you who don't know, short messaging service, so text messaging, and versus letter campaigns. Now, I'll talk about how they work, which is the best for acquiring property, and really like the importance behind this. Honestly, these will make or break your business in an acquisition, at least. Some of these strategies honestly work best for certain parts of land investing, like in selling. SMS might be a really good way to approach selling your property. I haven't tried it. You can give it a go and let me know here at the Land Flipping Formula or in the email below. If you're watching this right now, you should know that a lot of this content also comes from the Land Investing Pros, from our course, from the deal partnering that we do, all the coaching that is in the course. Everything that I'm talking to you about right now actually comes from our course. So if you're interested in it, look at the link below if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, you can message me as well. If you're interested in the course, just message me or email me in the link in the email below. All right. Before we jump into this topic, I do want to give a few shout outs to some of my very own students. They've been working really hard, so I'm very proud of them. We've been doing the deal partnering with them. Some of them for a few months, some of them have just started. And I want to give a few shout outs to the ones that have just started, because honestly, it's pretty hard starting out. I know that from experience. So shout out to Sean Selby for his first property that he's going to close. He's been at this for only 1 month, and he's already got a property that he's closing for the first time. So I'm very excited for him. Congratulations, man. As well as for Danny Kellis. Danny sent his first letter campaign about a week and a half ago, and they just hit the market. He's getting responses already, so that's really exciting. It just goes to show that we're doing the marketing analysis correctly. We just have to do the due diligence now, so that's pretty awesome, Danny. As well as for Melanie, who has 4 properties that she has to close, and all of these properties I know can be sold at 5K, at 5x. So 5 times what she purchased it for. Those are the kind of margins that you see in land investing. So if you're interested, if you're watching this, if this is completely new to you, then give me a shout on my email below. Come join us at the Land Flipping Formula. Check us out at thelandinvestingpros.com. See what we have to offer. But stay tuned right now. Don't go right now. Stay right here. I'm gonna talk to you about these very important marketing strategies. So let's jump right into it. Honestly, I know the last one I was muted and I was going off onto so many things. Literally, I wish I could unmute myself and go back, but I'm just gonna have to redo it and remember everything that I just went through. If you're out there watching this live, comment live, send us some likes, send us some hearts. Let us know that you absolutely love this content and that it is actually worth your time to invest in this. Now, cold calling. We'll go straight into the pros, the cons, how they work. And I'll give you a quick overview of how cold calling, SMS, and letter printing or letter campaigns work. Okay, so cold calling, let's talk about cold calling. pretty simply, you can use PropStream to download the listings as well for the emails of the owners in your market. Of course, you want to do a market analysis. You want to have your margins already set out, and you want to know what you want to offer. That's my advice as a land investing pro, that you should know your margins and you should know what you want to offer. Neutral letters are coming in with a neutral approach. By neutral, I mean you don't know. You're going to basically tell them if they're interested in selling their property and what they would think their property is worth. If you're doing that, then you're probably getting a lot of deals that are not worth your time, honestly, because a lot of people will tell you that their property is worth more than is actually worth. So for us here in the land investing pros, we use 20 to 30% of the market value to price our offers. That's simply it. I'll just give you that rule of thumb, all right? But so when you're doing cold calling, you'll download the listings using PropStream. You can set up a system too, and honestly, these are one of the cheapest ways to start as well, because honestly, PropStream does not cost that much. And as well as setting up a system to start calling people, it does not cost much at all either. So if you don't have capital to invest into your operations, if you don't have much, let's say if you have only $200, $300, then this might be the best approach for you for now, until you start acquiring properties and start actually developing a revenue, getting some cash flow so you can invest into a better system, right? Now, cold calling, that's pretty much the approach. You're basically downloading lists and you're calling out to these people. Some of the pros for cold calling is that you get direct contact with the owner. Now, that doesn't always happen, but when you do, that's actually the best way to go, because closing and selling, and anyone can tell you who works in business and in sales, direct contact. And let me just answer this question right here. What was the system you mentioned? PropStream. PropStream was the system that I mentioned. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but you can Google it, and it works really well. All right, so as I was saying, basically direct contact with the owner will lead you to having better momentum in your closing process. If they are interested in selling their property, then it'll be easier to just go straight into giving them an offer. If you already have it, if you already know your margins, right, and you know what you want to offer, you can go straight into it and maybe even close the deal right then and there. I've heard it happen. I don't do cold calling because it sounds miserable. That's one of the cons, to me at least. The cons is that it takes so much time. I've seen so many people, and I coached a lot of wholesalers that come in to do the course and do deal partnering with me. Most of the coaching that I do is to wholesalers and land investors who are just starting out. Now, most of them set up aside like 2-3 hours to do this, to start calling and start seeing who is interested or not, or at least setting up another time to call, another call for them to actually talk about negotiation. And in between, you can do your due diligence. But if you get them on a call, you have direct contact with the owner, then if they are interested, then it can get done really quickly. And it's honestly one of the fastest ways to do it. So cold calling has its rewards if you know how to talk to people, if you know how to give a good impression. But one of the cons that negates that is that you run the risk of sounding like a telemarketer. Because nowadays we get calls all the time about health insurance, car insurance, about our extended warranty on our cars. And does this ring a bell to you guys? I hope this rings a bell, because I get a lot of those calls. So if you're cold calling, a lot of people don't like unsolicited calls. So it does make you sound a little unprofessional if you don't know how to communicate well. So you may want to look into educating yourself and developing communication skills over the phone to be able to project a more professional environment over the phone. And honestly, that is very essential in all cases, because land investing is something very virtual. You can do it from the back of your from your desk here, your office at home. Aaron did it from the beach. I remember one time he closed some deals over the while he was on the beach in California. So it can be done just from your computer. Just in today's world, there's so much technology out there, so many tools you can use, and we'll talk about these. One of them being PropStream. We'll talk about these as we go on. But that's pretty much it for cold calling. For cold calling, like I said, let me just review it real quick. If you're good at talking to people, cold calling might be the best way for you to go. Simply because you get direct contact with the owner, and you can set and close a deal really fast if they're interested. A lot of times they're not interested, so you gotta get used to rejection. That's another. You gotta get used to rejection in life, anyways, right? So definitely one of the toughest ways to go about it, but it can help you develop better people skills in general, and turn you into a better business person, anyways. So let's jump into SMS, short messaging services. Pretty cheap, pretty simple. That's one of the pros. I think it's pretty cheap and pretty simple.
How's that, guys?
Haven't really jumped too much into it, but
I did not realize that I was.
give me 1 second here, guys.
My mic was on mute. That is embarrassing. Let me restart. I just gave you guys.
There you go. Awesome. Had some background noise going on from the last live session, so let me clear that out. But anyways, jumping into SMS, the short messaging service system. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. You can use PropStream as well for this because you're getting phone numbers as well. One of the things to watch out for is getting red flagged. That's pretty happens quite often. So you have to make sure what you send out, what kind of messages you're sending out, what kind of words you're using, because people will easily block you, or you'll get red flagged by, I believe, cell phone companies. And you can quote me and correct me on that, because I am not an expert at SMS. I know it because I coached people in it, and I've seen a lot of people use it. But for us, we use letter printing, letter campaigns. And so, but honestly, it's pretty intriguing. I think it could be really good for interesting people in the properties that you do already have, and then closing on a sale, getting people on the phone. So that would be a really good approach for this as well. One of the pros for this is that aside from it being cheap, is that you can get on a call really quickly. You can send out an offer really quickly as well. If you already know, and I have a gnat in my room, you already know this this process. If you already know the margins as well, and you know the offer that you want to make, roughly where you want to place your offer, then there's no reason why you can't send out a message offering a certain amount. Of course, again, watch what you text out, but you can definitely send a text message that's not so neutral. Like I said before, neutral approaches are not so good, because when it comes to negotiating, the owner will give you a really high price, and you want something cheap, obviously, because we buy cheap and we sell for more. That's the land investing model. That's the land flipping slogan. That's our core. So definitely go for something cheap, and definitely use a 20 to 30% of the market value as your quota, I guess, for your blind offers. If they don't like it, that's totally okay. Then it wasn't like what you needed anyways. So you just have to move on and find new people. Now, for your letter campaigns, we'll move on to that, right on to this one. It's honestly pretty simple too, and it's one of the most effectives as well. And I think for me, just using letter campaign, the whole time that I've used letter campaigns, I've seen the most out of it. I've used email campaigning as well, and it hasn't worked out as well as letter campaigns in acquiring property. So let me explain to you how this will work. Basically, in letter campaign, you'll use either Data Tree or Agent Pro, right? Data Tree and Agent Pro will help you download a listing of people that you can email, that you can mail out a letter a blind offer with a purchase agreement. That's what I always suggest that you do. That's what we teach here at the Land Investing Pros in the Land Flipping Formula course. That's what we do because it helps us generate momentum into the deal, closing the deal a lot faster, and being able to just sometimes I get people who just sign it and send it right back to me, and then I give them a call and they're like, yeah, I signed it, I'm interested, and then we set a time to close using a mobile notary. If you are interested in knowing how to close by yourself without using a title company, comment checklist below, and I'll send you a checklist on how to do that, how to close without using a title company. Now, with letter campaigns, that's one of the pros. You come off as really professional. You could your letter, you can put a logo on there of your company. You can also put your website. You can put your own email with its domain for your company as well. It can come off as really professional. It's one of the best ways to approach this. Another reason is because, and it's a big pro, that they call you if they're interested. Most people that are interested in selling their property, and if you cold call them, they don't know what you're cold calling them about. If you start talking about their property and so on, and acquiring their property and start talking numbers and so on, then you'll come off as a telemarketer. With a letter campaign, your letter can come off as really professional. My letter has the purchase agreement, the offer price, the offer number, 29,000, 12,000, whatever it is. It's in bold letters. They see it. They see the number with a $sign on it. That sticks into their head. I can tell you right now that really sticks into people's heads when they see money sign on a official document. That is for them. They start thinking, oh, this is what you want to give me for my property. Let me give you a call. And then, of course, you get on a call. You can get direct contact from that point on, and then try to close on the deal, see if you can negotiate as well. And then, of course, once you set a time to meet again, in between, you'll do your due diligence and get everything pretty much grayed out and see if it's a good investment for you. If it's not, you can move on. Literally, I sent out 300, 400, 500 letters in my letter campaigns. And I've acquired over 3-4 properties in those short amount of letters. Yeah, it costs a little bit more, but it's really effective if you know how to do it right. And I think it just takes a little bit of guidance for all of these to know how to do them well. But I think one of the biggest cons is that it really eats into your budget. It costs quite a bit to send out letters, especially with stamps, with the letters themselves. Paying letter printing companies to do that, it does cost quite a bit. For me, it's sometimes around 1,000 up to 4,000, depending on how many I send a month or a week. And it really just varies on the market that I'm acquiring and the amount of listings that I get from one download in Agent Pro. I would recommend you use either DataTree or, you can use DataTree. It's pretty pricey. That's one of the more expensive, but very useful tools to acquire listings of people. Agent Pro is pretty cheap. It's very useful too. It works the same way as DataTree. However, DataTree has extra stuff that you can use. For example, you can do comps in DataTree. That's not something that you can do very easily in Agent Pro. But either way, for me, I use Agent Pro. More like my virtual assistants use Agent Pro, and they know how to do the scrubbing. Really, it takes to do the letter printing takes like 5 minutes, and scrubbing a list for me now that I've been doing this for a while, it takes 15 minutes to scrub a list. And then choosing a market for me is like 30 minutes now. Now that I've been doing it for a while, it's actually quite simple. It's for me to choose an area and to send a letter campaign. And I'm reaching out to hundreds and sometimes thousands of people a week. And I didn't do much. I spent maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours a week just to do this. And now all I'm doing is waiting and working on the other aspects of my business. So like you probably see that I'm pretty biased as to letter printing, letter campaigns, simply because they work really well in this niche for acquiring property. But that's not to say that SMS or cold calling doesn't work. I know a lot of wholesalers who do really well in this thing, in these with these approaches. Uh, Honestly, I think it's simply because of the way they approach it and their skills where they lie. If you're a good communicator, if you're good at talking over the phone and projecting a good professional environment over the phone, then you can do really well in cold calling. However, it does take a lot of time, and I've seen some people who some companies actually that I coached or consulted, helped with their strategies and so on, that they use cold calling sometimes. And they see that it's effective on a mass scale because they have multiple people use multiple people calling out to owners and acquiring property that way, setting up contracts for the company. However, if you're just starting out, obviously you're not going to do that, and you're going to have to set time aside to do this on your own, and it's going to take you 2-3 hours to call a whole list, and actually get an interested owner who wants to sell their property. And then you have to make sure that it is a good investment. So doing your due diligence is going to take a little bit more time. However, if they are interested in selling, it can go a lot faster for you. With SMS, just to recap, like I said, it's really easy, really simple to use. You can use PropStream as well, just like in cold calling. There are a lot of systems to send out text messages out there. And honestly, I don't know that many, but I know from a list that I pulled out from Google that there's quite a few there. They can be kind of pricey, but for the cheap ones, they work really just as well. And I think when you're starting out, you're really just trying to get your feet wet, and you're just trying to get a few sales in so that you can get some money, some revenue, right? And you can invest it right back into your business and scale it a little more. When I started out, just from my experience, just so that you know a little bit more about me, when I started out, it was penny pinching for sure. I took none of the cash flow. Actually, I had zero cash flow because I reinvested everything that I profited it. I just gave it right back into my business. I sent out more letters, and that means that I spent more money on Agent Pro and letterprinting.net, and of course in my ads and so on to sell properties. So in the very beginning, it can be kind of tough to set your systems in place and to be able to manage them. So it is kind of brutal. And actually, let me see. I used to cold call for a house wholesaler. It was brutal. Thank you, Scott. Scott is one of our members here at the Land Flipping Formula. So thank you so much. And actually, thank you to, again, shout out to you for being so nice and messaging me. And you too, Walter, for messaging me and letting me know that I was on mute last time. I'm just figuring out how this mic works. So getting used to that as well. But thank you so much, guys. This is pretty much it. I want to tell you, I think these all have really good potentials, but it's based on where your skills lie. For me, I'm really good at talking over the phone. I'm okay with I'm really good at email marketing, and my letters are on point. So I'm gonna stick with that, so that people can message me call me, and then I can set them up for a call where I can close them on a deal and negotiate and settle on a price. Right? That's my approach. I'm really comfortable with it, and it works really well. SMS can be pretty. It's actually I would say it's kind of new to the land investing niche. If you try to implement it, let me see. Let me know how it goes. My email is right below. Let me know if it works out for you really well. But that pretty much wraps it up, guys. If you're interested in any of the deal partnering from the Land Investing Pros, we have quite a lot to offer, honestly. I think a lot of people are sleeping on that. Check us out at the Land Investing Pros. Look at our course. Tons of videos and tons of tools templates and formats that you can use to start out your business, to get the guidance that you need, as well as deal funding. If you don't have the capital to acquire a property, send it to us, submit it to us. Go to Land Investing Pros under deal funding, and check it out and look at all the information. Of course, you'll get minimum 40% of the profits if you allow us to sell it for you. If you want to sell it yourself, then you get 60% after you sold it. Yeah. So it works really well both ways, I think. And if you're just starting out, you don't have that much capital, this is probably the best way to approach it for you. Work with us here at the Land Investing Pros. We would love to do that with you, as well as with deal partnering. If you are interested, check the email below, or a comment. If you're on Facebook, comment promo code. I'll send a message to you and get you the promo code so you can get started with the land flipping formula course. All right, guys, that's been awesome. Thank you for watching. For those watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. I'm gonna try to do this every week, and next time not muted, at least for the first half, right? So hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and join us here at the Land Flipping Formula. We have so much to offer. One quick thing, I have checklist after checklist that I like to give out. If you need help with closing, if you don't know how to close by yourself, not using a title company, which, by the way, title companies take so long and cost so much. They cost a shit ton. So don't use title companies if it's a small deal. Use a mobile notary. I have a checklist. It's free. Just comment closing checklist if you're on YouTube or Facebook, as well as for many other checklists that I have. Just come join us at the Land Flipping Formula. We would love to have you. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.